We'll see what happens. But let's start off with the match that just been announced this past Monday Night Raw. And we talked about this last episode. We was like, who should answer that open challenge WrestleMania against Brock Lesnar? And we both said Femi. And for obvious reasons. They have made it official. Femi versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. To recap, Femi came out, did his famous walk, took Brock Lesnar down. There you go. Took Brock Lesnar down with the fall from grace and put his foot on his chest, pointed at the WrestleMania sign. Triple H puts the post out there on X. It's official. Now, the thing that people are like talking about is what should the results be? Because I feel like a lot of people want Femi to win this match, and they are pulling for Femi to win this match because he's being built as that, like that Brock Lesnar type, the next great thing, the next big thing in WWE. But then again, this is a Brock Lesnar open challenge. Brock Lesnar, it's been reported that him and Paul Heyman have been pushing for Brock to dominate on his way to retirement, where a lot of people speculate it's going to be at SummerSlam later on this year because it's in Minnesota. Here's the $1 million question, Alec. Should Femi, in his first WrestleMania appearance, defeat Brock Lesnar?
Yes, he should. There is plenty of time, believe it or not. We're still over 30 days, I think, from WrestleMania. I think Brock is going to be there next Monday, too. There is enough time for Brock Lesnar to get his just desserts against Femi on television, leading up to the grandest stage of them all, where it is time for Brock Lesnar to do what he has actually been really underratedly been doing for a very long time, which is putting talent over. He stage managed that confrontation with Femi on Monday night. That was all him. Awesome sell. Told Oba to put his foot on him and a point to the WrestleMania sign. He knows what he's doing. And I think Brock knows that he has much less time left than he has, already done. So I think he's going to be just fine taking the loss at WrestleMania. SummerSlam, there's a lot of story that could be someone else besides Oba that has Brock's last match. In fact, you still have Gunther out there.
The only thing that I'm going back and forth about is the speculation that Brock Lesnar will retire at SummerSlam. Like, if it's true, and then you saying Gunther should put Brock Lesnar down, or at least that's a possibility, wouldn't it make sense? Would it make sense for Brock to win his last WrestleMania match and be dominant into that path of Gunther? Or another turn have Oba lose the match, but Oba gets the ultimate victory at SummerSlam?
I think it means less when it matters most. And I think it's important right now to get Oba over. I think there's some false hope in probably WWE Creative that they already have Femi over. Just because his name is easy to chant does not mean necessarily that he is over the way that he needs to be. It's easy to say Oba, but are the fans really behind him when if they haven't been watching NXT, they've seen him like 4 times. And half of those times was against Kit Wilson. So is he really over? And I think that they need to get him over. And I think the time is WrestleMania. And I think SummerSlam, I think it would be cool almost to, again, I'm more of a retro thinking guy. So you have this match at WrestleMania between Oba and Brock Lesnar. They go at it. Oba wins. And then Gunther sticks his nose where it doesn't belong. And Oba supports Brock in the months leading up to SummerSlam, where, you know, Gunther might run interference or try to attack Brock Lesnar, this, that, and the other. And the former rivals showed that they have respect for each other, whereas they don't have respect for someone like Gunther. You know, that's the straight to the point babyface heel dynamic. Really needs to make a comeback because otherwise it all gets muddled. So that's the way I'd like to see it.
And let's talk about the match itself. Oba Femi versus Brock Lesnar, WrestleMania. How should this match go down? Because we talk about 2 dominant forces going at it in the ring, and I'm thinking one or two things. First, if Oba Femi wins the match, I think he should dominate Brock Lesnar. If they have Brock Lesnar win a match, I think he should just barely beat Oba Femi. I'm talking like barely. Like that whole like babyface type of fashion where Oba just beating him down, then Brock just pulls out the win because he's a veteran. He's gonna use his savviness to get over. So I think one of two of those things should happen. How you think the match should go down at Mania?
I think those are both competent choices. It's not an exact parallel, but I think of how, you know, Steve Austin was on his way up at WrestleMania 13, but he was not really over. And instead of submitting in a submission match, they just had him lose consciousness. And they called the match.
The Bret Hart, right?
Yeah. While that was part of a double turn,
The double turn,
which isn't the case here, there's a parallel in saving face for the guy who needs to get over but loses. And if that's the case for Oba, then I agree with you that it needs to be that close with Brock Lesnar still winning, but that close. Like he just escaped with his life. I don't know if I like the idea of a beatdown on the other side of the coin. I think it would be something more like a Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns kind of thing where I think they can go 10 minutes. I don't think that that's too long. And I think that they can still make a real powerhouse type of match with it where they bust out the moves, they bust out the suplex city, you know, and the clotheslines and power bombs, and you know, Oba kind of like he did against Cody at Saturday Night's Main Event, jumping through the ropes, you know, pull it all out. But if anything, I'd like to see Oba win. But if he doesn't, like you said, just that close.
Yeah, and to double down on that, what I want to see for sure, no matter the result, is Brock Lesnar getting his bag a little bit more. Like, I want it to be like German suplexes and F5 is not going to be enough to take this man down. Like, you got to do something that we haven't seen out of Brock Lesnar for ages.
Just not a shooting star press.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. No shooting star presses,
Please,
though.
no. No,
Maybe
thank
maybe he
you.
could do like a frog splash or something. Let's move on to Roman Reigns versus CM Punk for the heavyweight title. Now, it's just been a promo battle where it did get physical. CM Punk knocked down Roman Reigns. Out of all the things Roman Reigns called him calling Punk old is what got under his skin, knocked him down. But for the most part, it's been a verbal sparring session between the two. You know, Roman really trying to get under his skin, calling him Phil instead of CM Punk. CM Punk bringing up his dad, saying, I'm going to bury you next to your father. And now here comes the Usos. You said something about our family, blah, blah, blah. Are you feeling this program between the two so far?
I was honestly feeling it right up until this past week because I thought it was a retread of the week prior and not as good. I think Jimmy Uso really showed some underrated chops on the mic in his segment with his brother Jay and CM Punk 2 Monday Night Raws ago, which ended up with Jay punching CM Punk in the face after CM Punk very rudely stuffed his microphone in Jay's chest. Let's not bury the lead here, but they rehashed the same thing the next week. And something I have really faulted Paul Levesque, Lee Fitting, and them for, specifically with Raw, is that sometimes their endings are so... There's a difference between going off the air not feeling like a scripted event right up until the last, and going off the air and nothing happened. You know, like, I think they were still on the air for like another 90 seconds or 2 minutes after Punk laid out Roman Reigns because Roman said he was old. You know, how we compare that to, and you know, Punk, you know, he was nice. He said, "You're so lonely. You don't have your bloodline anymore. You know, so when I bury you, I'll bury you with someone, your father." So he wouldn't be lonely. They're both baby faces right now, but they're taking heel shots at each other. So I think it was right that Roman didn't use the ring promo to talk about how he wanted to be part-time so he could be a full-time father, because that's too babyface. And then at that point, Punk has to be the heel, or else the wheels start coming off. So he saved that for like a backstage with the Usos this past Monday, which I thought was a nice touch. And you know, the only thing I can see from here on out is if just Punk dives and takes, if they think they're going to keep this on life support by promo and by pretending to punch each other out every week, like, something's got to give. Something's got to, you know, we just had, not to bring it up right into this, but we just had the Cody and Randy thing, right? Where's that?
Yeah, I was about to say that. I think what needs to really put this over the top before Mania is they need to get into a brawl. Like, it don't have to be that long. It could be like, you know, Raw nowadays famous like having those type of brawls where it bring out the whole locker room trying to separate the two. But I think even though it's like you know, an old thing, I feel like it's something that you could still go to the well for. And the crowd is going to eat it up.
And it's been done recently, last year, maybe year and a half now. The minute you brought that up just now, I thought immediately Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed had a really
I would say I like the fact that Roman is getting under CM Punk's skin, because I feel like CM Punk nowadays he's doing this in kayfabe real life too. Is that he's they're like that locker room leader now. He's that, he's that voice of reason. He's that encouraging guy and backstage, and and I like the fact that he's like that cool uncle now. That knows that he's in the twilight of his career, but he's still having fun. And I like the fact that Roman Reigns is like really like
no,
piercing
you're
through
not.
that. Like, yeah, no, you're not. You're faking it, and you're old, and you know that you're almost done. And I'm here to take the mantle back. I like that the aspect of that feud. But the one
And I'm
thing that
going to
I've been
give you
going
a retirement tour.
right. But the one thing I've been going back and forth about is who should win the match. Because I feel like this: if Roman Reigns win, I think we're going to have a situation again where he's still going to be part-time in it. We're not going to see the belt every week like we've been seeing with CM Punk. And it's going to be almost a retooling of his, tribal chief run, head of the table run. If CM Punk wins, what do you do with CM Punk afterwards? Because I feel like if it's not Gunther going after the title versus CM Punk, which Gunther still owes CM Punk an ass whooping from last SummerSlam. So I'm will a rematch between the two, which I would love to see. If it's not that, because I do think Gunther needs to have a belt around his waist. If it's not that, then what do you do with CM Punk going forward? Because I feel like Roman is right, man. CM Punk, he getting old. Like we kind of seeing it in the ring a little bit. Like he's winning the matches, putting on good matches, but now we seeing like him kind of dragging his feet a little bit with the weight of the title. So, who you think should win at WrestleMania between Punk and Reigns?
It's a tough call. I think it's noticeable in matches that it takes a few minutes for Punk to get up to speed. But at that point, he looks like he did 15 years ago. But it takes him a little longer. I think Punk correctly called out the fact that the title that's around his waist was created because Roman Reigns was part-timing, championship hogging ass that, you want to talk about not defending the title. At least there have been CM Punk defenses. Have they been against absolute star-studded, hopefully Finn Balor gets a face run now. I would like to see him maybe do a program with Finn post WrestleMania if he wins the title. Roman is kind of threatening a return to like the bloodline thing by like saying like, oh, I didn't command all the Samoans to go after you. I just suggested they should. And again, there are, like Bubba Ray Dudley said some time ago, there's like 90 more Samoans, to pop out of the woodwork. They're around. I don't see why putting Roman Reigns over makes sense unless something big comes out of it.
Let's go to like a weirder situation, a weirder feud on SmackDown now between Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill. You laughing, but here's let me try to recap so I can understand. So Jade Cargill said something on social media, put a post out there. Rhea takes exception to it everybody's labeling Rhea as being emotional about it when it was just Jay simply just trying to draw heat and interest for the match. Possibly. Then their first promo against each other, it was just all about, I'm better than you. No, I'm better than you. I'm stronger than you. No, I'm stronger than you. And then the next one was Jay talking trash. Rhea comes down, but Jay, backs off the situation and leaves the ring. And a lot of people are saying that this feud is kind of stumbling. And me and you talked about it. I was like, I don't think Jay, nothing against Jay, but I don't think her and Rhea Ripley were like the best parents to go at it right now. So, first of all, let me ask you this question. Do you think they're stumbling out the gate with this? And if they are, how can they salvage this in time before they step in the ring at Mania?
They absolutely are stumbling out of the blocks. And the thing that's most annoying about that compared to the situation with, say Braun Breaker's injury is that Bianca Belair has been out for like a year. Clearly, the idea, and Jade, for better or for worse, and apparently for worse, brought up the fact that it was supposed to be Bianca Belair versus Jade Cargill. That makes all the sense in the world. Rhea as well takes blame in this. And I think this goes back to a few feuds now where Rhea is not necessarily strong on the mic in conversation. She's strong on the mic solo. I don't know if she is nearly as strong in a promo battle. And I think that's going to hurt because clearly Jade isn't. And I don't think Rhea is that much better, to be honest. And, it started with Jade making a flippant post on social media, Chelsea Green getting in there, Jade clapping back at Chelsea Green, Piper Niven coming in there just like a battering ram. This blows. And, you're out there and the best material you've been given by this writing team is, oh, my thighs are bigger than yours. That's it? Really? But to answer the second part of your question, I don't know. I don't know how they get it back because the ways that people could interject, they could put Chelsea Green in the middle of it. Put a little bit of real life, and put someone in who really can take it on the mic with a promo and in a promo battle. Put Chelsea in the middle of it. That would create something. Just get the spark to just get out the gate. But no, they have stumbled on the blocks big time.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate because, first of all, I like both of these ladies. I think both of these ladies are excellent. Like you said, they're not the strongest on the mic, but I do feel like Jay
in conversation, I think they're both not good with a promo.
Yeah. But I would say sometimes I feel like Jay kind of holds back a bit on the mic. I feel like she don't really let it loose on the mic.
It took her a second once she made the jump to WWE to start being that bitch.
Yeah.
Which she was the entire time on AEW. So clearly she is, testing the waters, which honestly, now that I think about it, makes me doubt that she's going around being so disrespectful and, thinking she's hot shit and this, that, and the other. That I I've never gotten that from her, and I don't think CM Punk would take more than 1 second to pull her aside, as a mentor of hers and say, "Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing?" So I'm not sure I really believe it.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Rhea, I think this does expose cracks in her armor. Um, like I said, I just didn't think this was gonna work. And for the reasons that are playing out now, these are ladies that are supposed to be ladies of a few words, ladies that's supposed to be ass kickers, powerhouses, and now they're getting into territory where they're not really that comfortable yet. And then they like you said, they need other people to play them up. And I do like the idea. Let's bring some real life in there. Let's put Chelsea Green on Rhea's side. And then for Jay's side, you got the factor of B Fab and
Yeah.
mention Mia Yim, mention Mia Yim. I'm still trying to figure out who is she.
They were in a kind of a spat with Jade, recently, and maybe they both saw the light, and they said, you know what, Jade is that bitch,
Yeah,
and so yeah, put
and
put a little spice in there.
yeah, and I feel like Jay will benefit more of being a leader of a stable. Like have somebody in that group that can talk on the mic, and Jay just be the leader. Just point, go here. Some
she
something
she
like
used
that.
to just have a group of baddies, um, as they were called. Um, And it did at the time, even though it wasn't like a legit like WWE stable or whatever, it put her out front and it made her
Mm,
seem larger. So I think she could use being the leader of a thing like Chelsea is with the Secret Service. It doesn't have
right.
to be some full blown stable, but it can
No,
it can
yeah.
be something like that.
Versus the other two matches we talked about, I do think Jay should win this match. Like I'm hands down 100% on that side. Like she needs
Yep.
to win this match.
Rhea needs a redo.
And Rhea, if you ever listen to this episode, there is nothing wrong with a break.
We love
Nothing wrong.
you. We love
Yeah.
you.
Oh, absolutely,
But
absolutely.
this is constructive.